and burn.
Hey everybody! So tonight I'm looking to discuss Cannibal Corpse's Centuries of Torment, the first 20 years. This was the third disc on that 3-disc set they released back in '08, I think. It's like, can't remember what it was called. Uh-oh, what the hell was that? That wasn't nothing. I'm kind of staring into the abyss here, like that way, because of the light. I can't see anything. I hear things. I have to go check because you never know when you're going to be murdered. So, yeah, this was released back in '08, and this is a 3-hour documentary summarizing the first 2 decades of the band, Cannibal Corpse. It starts with their demo through their first release, which, of course, is Eaten Back to Life, and this goes all the way up to Kill. God, I loved Kill. George's ability to enunciate while growling is, it's like Corey Taylor level talent, like Slipknot here. Like he's got the ability for you to kind of understand what he's saying. And you can tell that George's cadence and his ability to do it like always trumped Barnes's ability so completely. And that's a big statement because that's Chris Barnes we're talking about. I know he's fallen off a lot with considering the past few releases from 6 Feet Under and how his voice is pretty much bottomed out. But nevertheless, I grew up loving Chris Barnes. I thought he was like a total badass. His lyrics were absolutely psychotic. It seems like once Barnes left the band, the lyrics, once the rest of the guys in the band got to try their hand at writing lyrics, they had more fun with it. Like they were discussing things like, zombie eviscerations and more like fantastical things like that. Whereas Barnes's subject matter always seemed to be something truly maniacal, and it always seemed to be had like serial killer undertones, and like with tracks like Stripped, Raped, and Strangled, and Fucked with a Knife, and the Pickaxe Murders, and She Was Asking for It. My God, I'm pretty much naming the entire record The Bleeding here. But no, but seriously, his stuff like Necropedophile, there you go. There's some from Tomb of the Mutilated, or I Come Blood, another one from Tomb of the Mutilated, Uh, Meat Hook Sodomy, there's one from Butchered at Birth, But it does seem that Barnes's lyrics were a little more psychotic, a little more sociopathic or whatever. And it seems like everybody else is in the band, once Barnes had left post The Bleeding, they got to have, like I said, a little more fun with the band lyrically, because it seems like when Barnes was in the band, that was his domain, and everybody else did the music, of course. And that does make sense. That happens with a lot of bands. But the direction that Barnes took the band in with the first handful of records is so dark and so brutal that, of course, you would end up with songs like Necropedophile and Stripped, Raped, and Strangled, because his subject matter is just so bleak and so dark. And I mean, I absolutely love the end of Fucked with a Knife, like stick it in, rip the skin, carve and twist, from behind I stuck my cock, coming, killing as I come in. I fucking love that. It's so catchy. And it's just like the riffage behind it. It's just shredding, and it's shredding in such a way that, my God, the Bleeding is like, if death metal could release a pop record, it would have been the Bleeding, you know? But anyways, yeah, so I think my favorite thing about this documentary is just how likable the guys in the band are, and how it seems like everybody took part, except, of course, Bob Rousset, Cannibal's original guitarist, that they had to boot out during, I think it was the Tomb of the Mutilated recording sessions, What was the story there? Who was it that told the story? Was it Alex? He was like, yeah, Buffalo's super happy. Everybody, because they are, of course, Cannibal Corpse is from Buffalo, and they have the Buffalo, I can't remember, what was it? The Sabres won something or other. I'm not into sports, so I have no idea, but the Sabres did something, and everyone's happy, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Bob, you're out of the band. And that was it for Bob. He gave up music completely, and I heard he's a pro golfer now and has been for some time, but he's never really come back into the fold. He's never talked to the guys. He had nothing to do with it. That was it. He was done. And I thought that was kind of sad that nobody was able to track him down and get his take on the early days of Cannibal. But I guess if you're hurt enough, you just want to let it go, and I do definitely respect that. But I just thought it would have been cool to get Bob's take on everything. I think Barnes even talks about that throughout the course of the movie. He says, like, what happened to Rousset? He's like, where is he? I would like to see what he's saying, And it's true. I would like to see what Bob Rousset is up to, too. But, well, this came out in '08, and now it's 2024, so, yeah. What else? Oh my God. I just love the guys in the band. I love how it just shows like the natural evolution and how, this person left, this person came. And I love how Rob leaves a couple of times, go at one time because he was kind of pig-headed. And then he gets back into the fold. And it's crazy that Jack left the band because him and his like adult contempt band, he was taking that, Adrift, I believe they were called. He was taking that more seriously. So he left Cannibal. Like Jack Owen left Cannibal Corpse. And throughout the course of the documentary, he even points out how that might have been a mistake. Because I know for a while there, he was playing with the guys in Deicide, but he's not doing that anymore. So I think Jack leaving Cannibal was a huge problem. But then it got Pat into the band too, and Pat was a wicked guitar player, even though in the end, as we all know, Pat O'Brien kind of went a little off the rails, went a little crazy, and yeah, he's not in the band anymore. So it's unfortunate, The guys in Cannibal, they have money, but they're not like wealthy. They're more like working rich. Like as long as they're touring, they don't have to hold down a job. But they're not so rich that if you were to go completely off the rails and kind of burn your house down and wreck your life, you're not going to be able to recover from that the same way that, Taylor Swift would be able to. Because we know Taylor goes off the rails all the time and burns shit to the ground. Actually, no, wait, that's Britney Spears, actually, isn't it? Yeah, I guess I should have said Britney, but I said Taylor. I like Taylor way more. But yeah, so nothing against Britney. Britney's cool too, but I am in love with Taylor. God damn. I mean, the Tortured Poets department. Why am I talking about Taylor Swift in a Cannibal Corpse video? That is just not going to be received well. Down with Taylor, up with Cannibal. But I love Taylor, so whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you don't feel the length. That was another thing that I absolutely loved about this, was despite the fact that it's 3 hours, the guys are so likable and the stories are so much fun and their history is just so engrossing and so engaging that it's like, boom, and it's gone and I'm starting it over again just because I love the guys in the band so much. They're just so decent and they're just so agreeable and I get the best vibe from all of them. And this was just so much fun to watch. And it's fun to see all the other bands that they influenced come up and they talk about what they did for them. And then I love how they discuss Paul's drumming style and how he's hitting the snare with his right instead of his left and how you can drum so much faster because of that. And I just liked the depth and I liked the honesty. And I just liked how this was wide open and everybody was involved, except of course for Bob, who I would have really liked to have seen. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over 7 minutes while I discussed the 2008 massive Cannibal Corpse documentary, Centuries of Torment, the first 20 years. Like always, if you like this review or you like this documentary, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. But like always, most importantly, never forget that the world is a way better place because you are in it. I'm getting out of here because those fucking mosquitoes destroyed me. Have a good night.